Friday evening here on the Smallholding, and I'm just spending some time looking at the cows, our farmer friends cows, which we see every time we look out of our front windows. They're here with us usually from spring through to early autumn, and it's a very friendly and familiar sight and just shows us the change in seasons, because these guys won't be in this field for that much longer because it is turning into a bit of a boggy situation with the amount of wind and rain that we've been having over the last week or so. Now I'm just waiting for Stephen to turn up. He has got a car full ready for a busy weekend ahead. Welcome back to another weekend on the Smallholding, and this weekend is actually the astronomical start to autumn 2024. So it's the 22nd of September tomorrow, and that's officially the start of autumn for us guys. Some people go off the 1st of September, which is the meteorological calendar. I'm not sure if I've said that right, but you know what I'm saying. So officially autumn for us, and goodness me, what a morning to bring it in. It's a really miserable, drizzly kind of morning, and we've got a jam-packed weekend ahead. For me, that's mostly going to be in the kitchen. I'm going to do a separate video in the garden, but we have been emptying the freezers of all of the game products that are in there, and so I'm going to be doing something with that. And Stephen is continuing work outside to make a safe area for bringing the animals in for the winter. But first up, it's the last weekend these guys are going to be with us, so I'm just spending a few moments with them while they're having their breakfast, although it's getting a little bit chilly. I'll see you in the kitchen very soon.
Well, like Tracy said, this is going to be my project for the weekend. So I don't know if you watched the last video, but I stupidly suggested putting a fence around here to keep the horses off in the winter when we turn them out onto the car park. Well, she's picked up on that idea and ran with it. So yesterday, I called on my way home from work, picked up all the materials I needed, and I'm just laying them out now to see what we've got. We have had a little setback, as in the 3 posts shorted me on the order. So, not to worry about that for the minute. I can get on with this side. The 3 posts that I'm short, we're going to go over there so I can pick up and do that later if I need to, if I get this side done. So the idea is just going to repost and rail this area off around here and take this fence that I've already got up. That's been up about 8 years and it's still solid, but I'm going to take it down, take these 3 trees out, replant them somewhere else, and post and rail this and mesh off the inside to stop the hens or anything getting into the veg plot, and it'll also keep the horses off in the winter when we have them in turn out in here. So the only problem I can foresee at the minute is these curbstones are all sat on a big bed of concrete. There were over there when I put that fence in as well, so I managed to dig down to the concrete, borrow a jackhammer through the concrete, and then get the posts in nice and solid. So hopefully it'll be as simple as that over here. We don't know yet because we haven't got into it. So I'm going to start off, we're getting the gate posts in here. I've just ordered some 4x4 posts for the gate. The rest are just 3x3s. So I'm going to put a gate post in there, get them in first, and then we'll work off that.
Well, poor Stephen's really not in the happiest of moods at being shorted by those 3 posts. It's not the fact that we've paid for them and haven't given them, it's the fact that he wanted to get that finished this weekend, and the yard that he got them from is closed over the weekend and they don't answer or anything like that. So he's going to have to go buy some more from what he said, and then we'll obviously sort it out with the yard. We use them often, so annoying, but never mind. I'm in the kitchen. There's going to be Grace and I working in the kitchen. Stephen and Jack are going to be working hard outside. And what I did last night, trying to get the freezers sorted ahead of the pigs going and just ahead of winter and making sure that we're on top of everything. Want to get some nice meals made to get put in the freezer as well as on the shelf. Side note, Annie's running around the kitchen at the moment, happily sniffing the floor and making rather a lot of noise, so apologies about that if you can hear her. She's enjoying her best life though, so she's happy. So I took out of the freezer last night a load or all of our game meat. So this is the stuff that pigeon, pheasant, rabbit, I also got some pork belly out, some pork mince out, and some unidentified freezer objects. So I'm not actually sure what they are at the moment. I've got some pig kidney out as well. These are the leftovers from the last lot that we didn't get to. Some of it's going to be cooked up to go for the dogs because it's got really bad freezer burn. Dogs will be happy about that. Some of it I really don't know what we're going to do with yet, but the point of it is getting it out of the freezer so that we can then do something else with it, cook it into a different form. So it's gone from raw, frozen, defrosted, cooked, and then it can go back in the freezer. I think for a lot of it we're going to mince it. I'm going to do some meatballs, some meatloaf. I'm not going to do burgers because we don't enjoy like pre-cooked burgers reheated really. We'll see what we get to. But there's going to be a lot going on in the kitchen today and not all of it is planned. So I too suffered a setback, but it was my own fault. I didn't get the meat out of the freezer long enough for it to defrost. So I've actually got some in the sinks here below me with the cold water defrost method. Is that the right phrase? So it essentially just speeds up the defrosting. There are a lot of pheasants which are in, I'll show you them, I'll get a little screenshot. A lot of pheasants which are whole, and we're actually going to take the meat off the bone and we're going to use that as a ground version as well, rather than trying to sort of cook the pheasants whole, just because we're more likely to use the meat in that way. And then I'll probably be doing a broth with what's left. Just looking around, we've got quite a bit of pigeon, as I say, some UFOs. I got some chicken wings out, which we didn't know were in there as well. Stephen was mortified when he thought I was going to be turning them into broth, so he has claimed those for later. So I will pop those in the air fryer for him for later. And there's also quite a lot of venison back straps. And apologies, this is quite a meat heavy discussion if anybody's a non-meat eater. And the last thing that I've got that I forgot to mention is turkey mince. So I'm going to be putting a lot of this together through the mincer, and then we'll see what we're left with. Right, we're getting there. So at the moment, the only thing I've got done is a little bit of dog food. I've done the pig's kidneys for the dogs, so that's just cooling off. That'll be fed to them over the next few days. And what I've started doing here, we've got some meat off the pheasant birds. Now, bearing in mind Stephen's the butcher and I haven't got a clue what I'm doing, I've said instead of him coming in from the fencing that he's working on, I'm just literally taking the meat off the birds myself. This is kind of what I'm working with. You can see in terms of, we've skinned these, a couple of them weren't skinned and we just plucked them, but the plucking wasn't fantastic, I have to be honest. Skinned is much better, but we're just going to take the meat off the rest of these, or I'm going to try at least, and there's clearly a lot of meat left on. So what I'm going to do is get some stock on the go as well. I've got the onions. I'm going to use the smallest onions from the garden that we've just harvested, and just get those in. I'll just clean them up and put the skins in whole. We've got some garlic, peppercorns. I'll go and get some celery from the garden, and we've got some carrots as well. So I'm going to work my way through those, and Grace is going to get started with the mincing whilst I'm doing this.
Well, as you can see from the time-lapse video, we had a lot of visitors today. So Tracy's parents came, my dad came, which I got him straight to work when he come up. So he fixed me chainsaw and he helped us with the rest to finish off the last of the fence. Jack helped us early on in the morning. But yeah, stopping and starting all day. I was expecting to get a bit further on, but I'm pretty pleased with what we've got done. Right, so this is the end of day one. I haven't got as much done as I thought I was going to get done with, but you can't win them all. So we've got all the posts in, they're all concreted in, we've got all the rails cut to length, all the tops cut to the right size. Now all we've got to do tomorrow is I've got to make a gate to go on here, and if you come over here, we've had to pull some slabs up in order to get these two posts in. So all I've got to do with these slabs, I've got to cut the corner off that one and it'll fit back in and go around there, and I'll have to cut a notch out with this one so it'll fit in there. Then they'll all want leveling up, but that shouldn't take long. And then all we'll have to do tomorrow, I'm not going to redo the trees tomorrow because we don't know where we're going to put them, but that fence is coming out. Hopefully I'll be able to make a gate out of that. If not, I'll have to dip into my collection of wood and see what I've got for that. But yeah, that's the end of day one. Pretty pleased with where we've got to. Fence looks all right. I was unsure how the fence was going to look coming all the way around here and blocking the greenhouse and off and everything, but I think I remember years ago we did think about putting the fence round here, but when I dug in with the spit, like I say, we hit all that concrete holding all these curbstones in, and I just forgot about the idea and put it up there. But that jackhammer is just a dream to work with. Went through the concrete no problem, and that's the end result.
Well, can't quite believe we're here again already. I've just fed the animals in the field and at the other end of the day, so it feels like I was just feeding them breakfast 2 minutes ago. As Stephen said, we haven't got as far on as we anticipated today, but we're going to pick it all back up again tomorrow. We're clocking off outside for the evening, well, outside working for the evening. I was going to do some game meatballs using the some of the mince that Grace has very kindly worked through for me today. Found some more meat in another freezer, just the freezer in the outside kitchen, so I need to figure out what to do with that, but it's not yet defrosted anyway, so there is an absolute ton of work to get through. Of course, I thought it would all be done by now, but in the real world there's tons. It takes a lot more time in the real world to do, and I've just seen there's a lot of chickens that are out that shouldn't be. So yes, it takes more time in the real world than when you're thinking in your head and planning these things. So, slight problem, good demonstration of the problem that we'll have. This needs meshing off with chicken wire.
Right, well, a bright and early start this morning, try to get this job finished off before it's back to work tomorrow. So I've just started with cutting the corner out with these pavement slabs to try and get this area sorted out first before I get on with the gate.
The pressure of not smashing the greenhouse.
And not smashing my fingers. Under that end there. Put that up under that end there. Concrete around. Moment of truth. It'll go if I just give it a. There we go. Need to push over there a bit, I think. How's that? Perfect.
And while Stephen is busy working out there on the last bits of the fence and the gate, I'm in here harvesting what will probably be the last of our chilies. I'm going to try and overwinter a couple of plants, not all of them. Got some ideas for next year already, which I've already mentioned to you guys about not growing in what I'm going to be growing in certain places in the greenhouse, but that's again for a totally gardening only video. But I just wanted to show you how fantastic these are looking. They're absolutely beautiful. These are Serrano chilies, and we've got all sorts going on. There's Anaheim in here, but an absolute ton of red Serranos. I've already harvested them, quite a lot of them green, so we're going to be putting these into some fermented chili sauce.
Right, well, that's another good job finished. I did run out of wood and it's Sunday and everything's closed, so I made the gate out of a long pallet that I had in there, but I might give it a blast down, or maybe the rest of the fence will darken up over the time to matching, but I think it looks all right. The only one thing we've got to do now is mesh the back side of it to stop the chickens getting through that escape onto the car park, so that's for another day because I've got no mesh. So we'll get some of that ordered, get tidied up, and before this rain comes I'm going to get all that fence out with a bit of luck. Just before I get on with that, we've just been interrupted by Grace. I don't know if any of you know, she's doing a veterinary nurse course at college, so she's brought this little thing home that we're fostering for a few weeks to get it on its feet. It was an abandoned little kitten, abandoned by its mother, so Grace is looking after it just until it's big enough and strong enough to adopt on. I don't think we'll be keeping this one.
Sure about that?
Yeah. He's done with.
More stuff going in them.
Well, I know, but we might as well move them. Wow.
Right, move them, yeah.
Well, that's that all tidy up, put back together. It's as far as I can go today because we need to move these trees and then it'll, I mean, it's opened it up a lot anyway, but once we get them trees out and moved, it'll really open it up. We haven't decided what we're going to do with this area yet, whether it be a seating area or put some more veg beds in here. Don't know yet. If you've got any suggestions, any ideas, stick them in the comments below. But like I say, I'm done with this area at the minute until we order the mesh for the fence, and then once I get that meshed off. But we have got a place for this apple tree over in the new orchard bit that we made. When we replanted the apple trees, one didn't make it, so that's going to replace that one. So that's not going to go to waste. And we just need somewhere to put these 2 holly trees. But like I say, I can't move them until the winter anyway, until they go dormant, and then we'll get back out and finish this area off. But it's secured enough for the horses to come out into the winter. We've just been discussing and talking about, well, Tracy's discussing and talking about putting one big long farm gate across the gap there where the car is, and then that'll just make it totally secure. But that means digging under this car park and putting like a 6x6 or an 8x8 fence post in. That's a lot of work, so I don't know if I'm up for that, but we'll see. In a minute we can put some electric fence up and that'll sort that job out, and just put some mesh against the barn so we can leave that open. But my job here is done.
Well, it may look like a jungle, but this is actually our raspberry patch here, which has got summer and autumn variety raspberries in it. I actually think that they come on the same cane for summer and autumn, and I learned the name for it the other day and I can't remember what it is. But anyway, Stephen is busy picking all of the raspberries that have come over the last couple of weeks. We'll get those in the house and frozen for use over the coming weeks and months. There's quite a few, so I'm going to get in there and give him a hand. We have just harvested 1 bed of potatoes as well, which was a fantastic harvest. Done a separate video on that though, so if you're interested in that, take a look. But really pleased with those. Some different varieties that we haven't tried before there, so it's a bit of a harvesting weekend. It's looking really good.
Well, not a massive haul, but a nice tub full there to go in the freezer for when we use them on desserts or breakfast or whatever. So now we're just going to check on the pigs because it's the last day with us, and we're going to get them a bucket of apples and take it down for them for a treat.
Come on in, Rodney.
Where's that bucket of apples?
Exactly why.
Have to get some mesh ordered. So we've just come down and give the pigs some apples. Like I say, this is the last day with us. They're going off to the abattoir in the morning, but we'll do a full pig video on that when we get them back, on what we do with sausages and the bacon and everything like that. But we just come down, give them a treat, and make sure they're happy. Well, last job of the day. Winter's drawn in, so it's time to strip the Aga apart. Not like the last time we did a whole revamp on it. We're just taking the lids off there so they can get a good clean before we get ready to turn it back on next month. So we'll get all that dried on crap off there.
Technical term.
Technical terms. And give that a good scrub round.
Well, sorting through all of this meat has been an incredible task. I have done some meatballs with the game minced meat. Oh my goodness, it was delicious. I actually wished I'd videoed it because I didn't think they were actually going to turn out very nice. I seasoned just with all-purpose seasonings, or effectively salt, pepper and paprika was in it. Some of the game meat that had been minced. And then I went to make it in meatballs, but I flattened it out first and added in some soft cheese. I had a little bit of garlic and herb soft cheese left to use up, and I had some onions out of the freezer as well, just diced onions. Put a tiny bit in the middle of the kind of the patty, and then wrapped it all around to make a meatball. Popped them in the oven for 20, 25, whatever it was, minutes. They were delicious. So they were like a squidgy, soft-scented meatball. definitely can be doing those again in the future. However, to make life easier, given how quickly time was going past, what I'm doing for the game mince is cooking a lot of it off, seasoning it and just cooking it off. Now you may think, hang on, I thought you were trying to empty the freezers. It was more about, well, yes, trying to empty the freezers, but also more about knowing what's in there and actually making sure that we use it. I've got a lot of rabbit meat, which I've done, some of it is in the game meat, but rabbit is so lean, isn't it, that we've put pork belly in there as well as the pigeon and the pheasant and everything. It's pork mince went in this lot. So there's a whole combination in there. It's super tasty. But all of the leftover rabbit legs that I've got in the slow cooker for the dogs. They're just cooking. I'll take all of the meat off and again just portion those out for the dogs to have in their meals or just as treats and things like that. And also there was a whole host of those chicken wings. Stephen's claimed those. They've been and gone now. So just seasoned those, did them in the air fryer, and they were absolutely delicious. So finally getting round. Oh, and also the stock is in the freezer. Haven't pressure canned it, just needed to get it done. So just quickly, you could get it done quickly in the pressure canner, but because I was in with the freezers, we just put them back in there. So I need to make sure I don't get the apple juice that we did mixed up with the game stock. But I'm really pleased this has worked out so well. It's emptied the freezers in terms of the volume of space that they were taking up with all of the meat in there, but it's organised and what's going back in there is going to be easy for us to use. I am planning on using some of this minced cooked game meat in things like the squashes that I've got, the baked potato squashes. We'll cook those, stuff them with this mince. Oh my goodness, it's going to be so nice. And then other vegetables from the garden. All this mince needs is heating up once it's been defrosted again. It's taken a long time to get through it all though, so that's it for me from a meat point of view. I'm thrilled with how that's gone. Anyway, that's going to be the end of this video, just checking in with you to let you know what we did with the meat. And a whole new week is coming up very soon. So thank you for watching and we will talk to you very soon.